Uh-oh.
A new snow squall warning has been issued.
Okay. There are winter storm warnings. Why is this not accurate? Man, that's annoying. Guys, we have so much to talk about. Hey, by the way, if you're in this blue, you're under a hazardous cold warning from the Climate Prediction Center. This isn't you're under a cold watch, freeze watch. This is hazardous cold. We're talking about negative feels like temperatures trying to push down into Louisiana. You could see if things work out the right way, you could see temperatures get down into the single digits. Feels like temperatures get down to the single digits in Houston, Texas. Yeah. There's cold blasts, then there's Arctic blasts, and then there's this, which is just a whole nother thing. By the way, the snow that could come along with this, look at the snow through Texas, Charlotte. Okay, let's check out what does the Canadian think? Oh, the Canadian wants some more snow into Florida. Very far down to the coast. Euro is really enhancing the snow, but keeping it a little bit farther north. Let's look at our national blend of models. That's our national blend of models here. So MBM 5. Just insane. I should be looking at the 10-1 ratio right now, but I'm not gonna, so get over it. Northern shift for Baltimore. I think it's still, well, we'll see. Look at the national blend. The confidence through Baltimore is pretty high in the national blend, don't you think? Look at this. Everything's on the table. Everything's on the table. I think everyone through this corridor should be watching for snow, and I mean down here as well. I do mean down here as well. That's how cold this air is going to be. You're under a hazardous cold watch in Birmingham, Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, just on the outskirts of New Orleans, Houston, San Antonio. You're in a hazardous cold watch for this weekend. So yes, temperatures could be cold enough down there for snow. Cold air won't be an issue here. This last snowstorm that skirted up the coast, cold air was a little bit of an issue. This is just absolutely wild. Did anyone watch my YouTube video today? And I said this morning in my YouTube video, I said, I think they're going to end up extending this hazardous cold a little bit farther out to the east and to the south. I didn't expect them to extend it down to San Antonio. Are we trusting the Euro or GFS? It's almost always a mix of the two. So you take a look at what the Euro thinks, and then you take a look at what the GFS thinks, bringing it down south. Try to average them out. That's going to be your best at least. Oops, sorry. That's going to be your best bet to start off with right now. So there's your GFS. There's your Euro. Can I actually compare them? Yeah, 1 second, guys. One second. Let's do a comparison. Let's do GFS. There's the GFS in Euro, the latest 12Z. Oh, you guys can't see it here. I'll do this. Let's do this. Weather. 1 second, guys. 1 second. Oh, we have so much exciting stuff to talk about. I love when there's crazy weather. Here you go. There's a GFS in Euro. I know my head's a little bit in the way, but you'll be okay. So that's the Euro, and then you can see the GFS a little bit farther to the south, a little bit farther to the south. The Canadian takes this snow even farther south. The Canadian takes the snow almost through New Orleans. The Canadian does something similar to what we had last year, kind of this really far southern track through Florida, Mobile, really far south. Regardless, this is what we should be talking about, in my opinion. Snow's cool and fun, but this to me is the craziest story. Here, let's take a look at the GFS first. Uncompare. All right. This, to me, is the craziest thing. I'm going to get to answering all your questions in a second. Let me just show you a couple things. Do you guys understand what these... Do you guys understand what these pinks are? These widespread. This is 30 plus degrees below average air. So say your average high this time of year is, if you're down here in the south, 55, I don't know. Let's say your high is going to be 20 degrees. I mean, 25 degrees. Look at this, and it sticks around. All the way until almost the last day of January. Maybe we get a little bit of heat rolling in. I don't know. Look at this. Crazy. I talked about it in my video today. Don't worry, I'm going to get to answering all your questions, but just to show you guys how cold this could be. Here, we'll look at some wind chills in the central plains. Yeah, it's cold out here right now. We know that, but let's get into this weekend. What's that? Negative 45 degrees, negative 46 degree wind chill in Minneapolis. Almost negative 60 degrees up here through portions of northwestern Minnesota. Negative 26 degree wind chill. Chicago, Omaha, maybe you get into the negative 20 degree wind chills. What's that? Tulsa, maybe negative 5 degree wind chill, negative 1 degree wind chill into Oklahoma City. Aaron, welcome to the Climate Crew. I appreciate that. Welcome to the Climate Crew. I appreciate the support. Yeah, give me another 60 seconds and I'll start answering your questions. Probably 2 minutes. Your negative feels like temperatures try to get down into Texas. They're creeping into Nashville, Arkansas. You could have feels like temperatures down in Houston, down into the teens here. And then you can see how this is going to affect the East Coast here, where these negative feels like temperatures. I mean, who knows? Maybe you get a negative feels like in a Charlotte, out through Baltimore, DC, Philadelphia, New York City. This is another level of cold. Look at this. This is another level of cold. These are wind chills. I'll show you the actual temperatures. Negative 10 to 15. You've got negative 15 degrees in Arkansas. Negative 15 degrees near Nashville. We're sitting down. Look at the southeast. Down to, you're in wind chills in the 20s down in Tallahassee, Florida. Let's take a look at the actual temperatures real quick. All right. Here we go. Getting into Saturday, getting into Sunday. This is actual temperature, non-wind chill. Everyone in here could be sitting in the negatives. Actual temperature, not wind chill. Like you are just negative. Okay. Pretty wild stuff. Pretty wild stuff. Yeah, I mean, we're getting into the 20s, pushing up against the Gulf, and without wind chill, without feels like temperature. Astronomically cold. This is going to be a fun one, guys. Possibly negative 30 degrees without wind chill in Minneapolis. Again, that's why we're seeing maybe negative 46 to negative 50 degree wind chills up in Minneapolis. All right, last thing really quickly, I want to show you what's going on here. Just walk you through the 7 to 10 day forecast in about 4 seconds. Here we go. Getting into Tuesday, Wednesday. It's pretty dry across the country, but we start to get a little bit of moisture streaming as we get into Wednesday. Clipper system through the Great Lakes, another clipper system through the upper Midwest. Nothing too exciting. Here we go. Getting into Thursday, Friday morning. Things start to pop off. We have to start to get some moisture down here. Baroclinic boundary starts to set up over the southern plains through the southeast. You get into Friday evening, Saturday morning, and hopefully not this. Hopefully not an ice storm of epic proportions. Let's hope maybe we can get a little bit more sleet mixed in there. But this is what the European sees. All snow. 2-inch-an-hour snow through Oklahoma, Arkansas. You'd probably get some snow down into Dallas as well here. And you see this snow and ice storm moving off through the southeast. Now, again, the GFS and Canadians see this snow a little bit farther to the south. Both of the models do. The AI models see the snow a little bit farther to the north. Regardless, this winter storm is going to very likely form down here in the southern plains. We'll see if it wants to ride a little bit farther north or south. The National Blended Models does keep it pretty far south, and the National Blended Models is all the models mixed together. So the National Blended Models does keep this pretty far to the south. Wait, Sage. Wait, did you just join the Climate Crew too? On YouTube? Shout out to you. I just realized that. Okay, anyways, there you go. So, lots to talk about. I'm going to start answering your guys' questions. Let me just say hi to some people. What's going on? Emmanuel, the meteorologist kid, you guys get in here quick. PB, Justin, Michael. Tanya, I appreciate you. Nisa, I gotta hold up. I gotta pull this down. SGT, Susan, I appreciate you guys. Holy crap, Pam. Pam with Flamingo Grove. I missed that. I'm sorry, Pam. You are awesome. Thank you, Pam. Yeah, get ready for this cold. You can see wind chills -20 or below getting into next weekend. Marissa KB, Michaela Morgan, Dublista, SGT. Holy crap. SGT, oh my gosh. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to anyone who's followed, gifted, joined the Climate Crew, just being here for this live, helping the algorithm. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. I'm taking your questions. Again, just want to show you, if you're in this blue here, which is like most of us, you're under a hazardous cold watch this weekend from the Climate Prediction Center. We're talking brutal, brutal cold. Not, it's winter, it's January, it's cold. No. Like I said, there's cold blasts. Yeah, ride 'em, cowboy. Thanks, Stevie, for the cowboy hat. There's cold blasts, there's Arctic blasts, and then there's whatever the heck this is. This is a complete collapse of the tropospheric polar vortex. South Jersey, snow, 125. 100% a possibility here. 100% a possibility. I would say, you know, it's tough because sometimes when you see these crazy storms form this far south, you really just want to lean into it and say it's not going to go further north. The models have been seeing this in the south consistently for the last 5 days since they picked it up, or 4 days since they picked it up. So I do want to lean into this being a southern snowstorm, but even if it's a southern snowstorm, you see the Euro keeps this pretty far south. There's still so much moisture up here to the north, so you could still get you could still get snow, a decent amount of accumulation in southern Jersey, and it would be very nice accumulation because you'd have a very nice snow ratio. It would be well below freezing, good snow ratio to stack up. So even if the storm does stay a little bit farther south, I think it's not a bad place to be in southern Jersey as this thing develops. All right, what is going on? One second, guys. There we go. What's going on? There we go. I don't know. A lot of cold air is supposed to be over New Jersey. Can this storm still bring big snow? It can, and it might. How does this compare to Winter Storm Uri in Texas? Are we talking about the 2019 one? I think the coldest air from this system is going to be through kind of here. Now we are going to get into potentially the negatives into northern Texas and into the teens in central, maybe all the way down, maybe into the teens all the way down into Houston and San Antonio. I don't know. I think probably the 2019 storm brought this cold air a little bit farther west like this, but you're in hazardous cold. Almost the whole state of Texas is in a hazardous cold watch for this upcoming weekend. Jasmine, Chicky, what's going on? Oh my God, there's so many people in the stream. What's going on, everyone? If you're wondering what this is, it's pre-workout. I needed energy. And when this is done, I have this. I want to know. Man, this is a crazy looking storm, dude. Let me say something to all of you. If this were to happen just like this, the way the Euro sees it, which we're on the outskirts of forecasting range, but still on the outskirts of forecasting range, right? Still right out. Still right outside good forecasting range. Lucas. Delaney. Holy crap, Arsh with the Galaxy. Delaney, I appreciate you. You guys are going wild today. Seriously, I really appreciate all the support. If this were to happen just like this, guys, everyone in this area would probably hit their averages or above averages for winter. You just check it off. Check off the box. You'd all get a foot of snow. A lot of your averages are right around there anyways, pretty far south. So this would make our snow anomaly map look really good going into the end of winter. Yeah, Matt, I need to talk to you about this after this stream. This is looking wild. Baltimore over 6 inches, definitely a possibility. It's possible to get snow into Houston. I know you don't see this on the Euro. I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't think it's probable you're going to get snow into Houston, but there are some runs and some members that do dive and amplify this trough a little bit farther into the south and kind of push this snow line back like this. And I do think that is a possibility. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's a realistic possibility. Holy crap, Arsh, another Galaxy. What did I do to deserve this? Thank you. Oh my God. Do you think ice turns into snow for Dallas? I do. Even with something like this, you're going to get a little bit of snow mixed in with this ice. It's not going to be the best accumulation, but you would get a little bit of accumulation on the ground across Dallas with this. And then you have cold air sticking around for a little bit after it. So you'd probably have at least 48 to 96 hours where that snow's kind of sticking around on the ground. We'll see. Again, there's models that bring it farther south. St. Louis on the northern side of this storm. Again, let's take a look Okay, let's take a look at our GFS ensemble. Surface winter. All right. Here's the GFS ensembles. Okay, so we'll just push through this snowstorm. So now you're not going to push out any further. Where's the highest confidence from this snowstorm? Obviously, this is how the GFS sees it. Tino, another galaxy. Oh my gosh. You guys are going crazy. Mike, I appreciate you. Tino, I appreciate you. Lisa, I appreciate you. Holy crap. That's the GFS ensemble. Here's the European ensemble. Holy crap. Here's the European ensemble. I mean, this is high confidence into some of these southeastern states. Go into the Canadian ensemble. Now, the Canadian... the Canadian deterministic actually puts snow... Oh, this is actually... No, this is the latest... Wait, hold up. There, the Canadian GDPS. Shifted this thing north. Let's look at this Canadian run right here. Let's go back to the 00Z. Pretty far south, moving into the 12Z. Holy crap, guys. I'm going to end up missing some of these gifts. You guys are, like, seriously. Thank you, guys. Oh, this is... Yeah, so this is towards the end of the run where the Canadian puts snow down into the south. Really far down to the south. So this is... The Canadian actually keeps it a little bit farther north and makes a good mid-Atlantic storm. Good storm for Kentucky, West Virginia. Really the Midwest in general. But still tries to put a little bit of snow into northern Texas, Oklahoma, and stuff like that. So I do like... Obviously, we're looking at the GFS and the Euro mix. The GFS... Okay, so this is our 12Z GFS. Definitely bringing the snow pretty far south. How much snow can Iowa get in the next 2 weeks? It all depends. It depends where... I think it's going to be tough for Iowa to get much snow in the next week because it's going to be so cold. Everywhere up here, we're going to get some... If you're not getting lake effect snow up here, if you're not getting lake effect snow up in this region, you're going to be so cold, maybe even farther south. It's going to be so cold, it's going to be hard to get snow. End of January, where we start to get a little bit of a warm-up maybe, and it's still going to be cold, but a little bit of a warm-up, you can see what the models start to do. They start to put snow up there because that Bear Clinic boundary is moving to the north. So next week, I don't think much for Iowa, but after that, we could see a lot more. GFS is bugging. I don't know. We'll see. Let's look at the 10-to-1 ratio on the Euro. Absolutely insane. GFS, please be wrong one more time. Can you show the 50 members? Yeah, I can do that. That takes a little bit, but I'll do that in a second. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the follows, subs, gifts. Like I said, just being in here, engaging with the chat. I'm going to try to answer questions as quick as I can. Really quickly again, guys. Climate Prediction Center. Hazardous cold. If you're in anywhere in this blue, this is extreme cold. Like I said, not a cold blast, not an Arctic blast. It's whatever the heck is after that. This is hazardous cold. We could see teens. We could see the wind chills getting into the teens, maybe even single digits, trying to push near the Gulf out towards the Atlantic. We're talking crazy cold. We could have wind chills in Nashville at like -15. We could get negative wind chills into Charlotte. We could get into the single digits around Atlanta. I mean, this is going to be some cold. Now, you can see the Southeast isn't in this hazardous cold because they're expecting a somewhat of a little bit of a ridge to try to keep the coldest air out. You're going to get cold down here, very cold down here, but they're trying to keep the coldest air out. I don't know that this doesn't push in and kind of overtake the Southeast and just overtake this ridge. So really quickly, and this is going to be as we get into Friday, Saturday, guys. Here we go. We don't need all this description. Yeah, I mean, we'll go over that later. Central Kentucky snow amount, it really depends. We're not in the forecasting range to talk about how much snow you could get, obviously 5 days out right now. But let's take a look at this real quick. Let's go into our national blend. This will give us the best idea of what we could see. Okay, now the national blend is actually going to be a little bit conservative because it's going to blend some models in that don't see any snow as well. So we usually see a little bit more snow than what the national blend sees. You like this a lot. It's important to look at the national blend if you're outside of 96 hours. Really, if you're outside of 72 hours, it's important to look at the national blend because it's giving you all your models and averaging them together. It'll give you a good look at what really could happen. Confidence through Tennessee and Kentucky is high. Confidence through most of North Carolina is high. Confidence through the Mid-Atlantic is high. Confidence to Kansas, Oklahoma, northern Texas is pretty high. Northern Arkansas, southern Missouri is pretty high. We can take a look here at the experimental NBM. Once again, once you get into these blues, this is where our models are consistently showing a little bit more snow here from this system. This other stuff is kind of clippers and lake effect snow up to the north. But that's some pretty nice confidence through here. Now, could shift farther south. You see some of the lighter grays down here. Could shift farther north. It's always a possibility. But this is showing up on everything. We like to see model consensus, and oh boy, do we have it. Obviously, here's the Euro. Here's the GFS. Here's the Canadian. Trying to really make this a nor'easter. Let's take a look at the icon. I'm not gonna be able to see it on here. 1 second, guys. Here, let's take a look at the GraphCast. Oh, there's the GraphCast. There's the winter storm in the GraphCast. Hi, do you want to say hi to stream real quick? All right, come here. Say what's up, stream?
Hey, what's up, stream?
No, you gotta look at the camera.
What's up, stream?
Good job. I'm gonna be out in a little bit.
Hey, what is that?
My computer.
Hey, what's that?
When it's yellow, that means it's running hot. Okay, close the door. So there it is on the GraphCast. Hey, buddy. There it is on the Euro AI. Every single, there's no model run that doesn't see the snowstorm. The question is obviously how far south does it move. Okay, be out there soon. And okay, I gotta get back to answering questions, but I do just want to show you how wild our teleconnections are, guys. It's like almost a joke. Am I zoomed in? What is going on here? Why did I mess this up? 1 second, guys. What did I do? Oh, there it is. That's how it's supposed to look. Okay. European AI. Look at that Arctic oscillation. There you go. Look at that NAO. Oh my gosh. This is just an absolute... This mean is so negative. This is insane. What's causing all this? Let me just go to our European ensemble real quickly, guys. Some of you might not care about some of this stuff, but I think it's important to understand. Heights, anomalies. I want you to take a look. You don't want a bunch of red, higher heights, warm air up here, because that's going to completely disrupt your tropospheric polar vortex. I explain it all the time, but the stratospheric polar vortex, when it breaks down, the cold air takes 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks to lag down to the mid latitudes where we are. If your tropospheric polar vortex breaks down, that cold air is collapsing into the mid latitudes right away. We have just a obnoxiously amplified Alaskan ridge and European ridge pushing tons of heat, tons of higher heights up into the Arctic, and the coldest air on the planet has nowhere to go but south. It's completely displaced. There it is. This air right here, all that blue heading down towards the States, it's not supposed to be here. It's supposed to be up here over the Arctic. Hey, Mr. MP, I appreciate the sub. And look at, I don't know that it doesn't even get colder than they expect it to, because look at these heights up over the Arctic. I mean, your tropospheric polar vortex is erased. There is no tropospheric polar vortex here. It's gone. It's completely gone. It's really crazy to see. It's really crazy to see. And I don't know that this isn't a great setup as well for potentially, you want a little bit more blocking out to the southeast here, but for a nor'easter as well. Pretty crazy. How's the GFS ensemble play this out? Pretty wild. Okay, let me get back. I want to answer questions. What for New York City? Well, look, there are some models that put this snowstorm through New York City, through the Mid-Atlantic, at 5 days out right now, 5 to 6 days out. Anything's a possibility. We're close enough that we know that a winter storm is going to occur. We're close enough that we know a winter storm is going to occur. We have model consensus. All the models agree. Every single one. If this winter storm didn't happen, I'd say there's like a 5% chance this winter storm doesn't happen. 95% chance it happens. When you have like 10 out of 10 models agreeing within 6 days, within a week, most likely that event is going to occur. You just don't know exactly how it's going to unfold, how much snow and where the snow is going to be, and how much ice and how amplified, how cold air. But the consensus on this storm is it's going to happen. The pathing of this is the big question here. The track of this is the big question. Snow in Fredericksburg, Virginia. It's a big possibility with this. Not a bad place to be. I mean, Virginia, whether this thing goes north or south, I think Virginia gets snow anyways. Do you think we will get more snow or ice about 30 minutes south of Charlotte? It's possible. You'd probably want this to lean towards the GFS run. Again, the GFS saw the chance for snow in the south a week ago in Florida and Georgia, and they got a little snow in Florida and Georgia. So the GFS sometimes does good as you get into the subtropics, as you push down into the Gulf region. Kind of understands how to read it. Yeah, we can look at the 50-member snow real quick. You guys want to see some of the outcomes? I'm being asked to look at this, and I do agree it can be kind of fun. Let's take a look. There's 25 different possibilities on the Euro, and I know you guys can't see this really great, but I'm going to talk to you about what some of these. Maybe I can zoom in here a little bit more. Okay, so why do we have different members? Well, every single one of these members is using the same exact algorithm as our deterministic or control run. But they all input the current conditions slightly different because we don't completely know what all the conditions are perfectly around the globe and moving in from the Pacific in our area. We have to use some satellite data, some weather balloon data. So they're all putting in slightly different data that they think is more correct. One of these is going to be close to being correct. So these are all technically the possible outcomes European sees. Most big snow in the south. Big snow in the south. More up towards the mid-Atlantic. This puts snow almost down to the Gulf. This is more of a nor'easter. Snow from maybe Oklahoma City all the way out through North Carolina. This would be a snowstorm of epic proportions from northern Texas out through New York City. Not too bad here. Oklahoma out through North Carolina. Not a crazy southern snow. This would be another snowstorm of epic proportions here. So would this one. This is crazy. This is a foot of snow into Charlotte and Atlanta. You know what's, guys, I actually thought we'd see more members that didn't see this southern snowstorm just given it 6 days on here, although I'm pretty confident we're going to have it. They all agree. They all agree. And I'm surprised how many of these European members put the snow down into like the Atlanta region, right? Central to northern Georgia. So some of these members of the Euro actually do bring the snow a little bit farther south, but a lot of them still keep it up and try to put it through the mid-Atlantic. Crazy snowstorm here, crazy snowstorm here. This one's very far south. This one tries to put snow into Mobile, Alabama. They're all. There's really none here that don't show at least snow as far south as Oklahoma City and Charlotte. I mean, it's pretty impressive. These are really impressive model runs. Again, this one's trying to get that snow down, maybe towards San Antonio, Dallas, Fort Worth. This one's pretty far south. I don't even know what to say. They're all showing such insane possibilities for this event. I'm surprised. Like I said, I'm surprised a lot of these are actually trying to bring it even further south. Let me look at the GFS real quick here, guys, and I know you can't see these great. Let me look at the GFS ensemble. Let's go to the panels winter. Does the GFS see anything crazy? I'm sure it does. I am sure it does. First member, the GFS shows almost a foot of snow into Dallas, maybe a dusting into Houston. Then you have more snow and a ton of snow into potentially Atlanta, Charlotte, up the coast. Good snowstorm, good snowstorm. Again, all these members show a storm that would be really impressive. I mean, this one right here would put snow into potentially Houston and New Orleans. I don't know what to say. Look, I actually just found one member that doesn't see the southern snowstorm happening. This is the first member. This is the first member of all the ones we've looked at. At this point, would have been like 60-something that doesn't see any snow down here. And this one. 2. Let's see, out of 75 models, out of 75 model runs, there are 2 that don't see any snow, at least as far south as something like Oklahoma City and into southern Tennessee and to southern North Carolina. There's 2 out of 75 members. So when I talk about high confidence, again, I cannot forecast how much snow you're going to get in the local area 6 days out, 5 days out. But we know the winter storm's coming. I can tell you that. And I can tell you the cold's coming. And the Climate Prediction Center is putting you all in hazardous cold, obviously. So they know it's coming too. You guys want to see something really wacky? Look at this. Not this, sorry. Now, I'll tell you this. In the shorter range, in the, we'll call it like 3 to 6 day range, this darkest blue is up here. So it's actually going to be coldest over the next 5 days through here. But this is starting at the 6 to 10 day range. So this would be starting this upcoming weekend. It's rare to see this darker blue. This is... Let's look at it like this. 5 degrees, maybe below average, 10, 20, 30, 35. I would say this is close to 30 to 35 degrees below average to the 6 to 10 day range. Insane. Crazy. All right. Upstate South Carolina, very possible. Again, there's plenty of members that put snow through upstate South Carolina. I know it's been tough for you guys for a while, but you do have an opportunity here. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's a real opportunity ahead of us as we get into this weekend. Connor, how do you think this is going to trend? North, south, colder, aloft, warmer, aloft? See, the aloft thing is what's going to mess. Obviously, there's... What this ice is telling me is that all the models, because you see this on the ensembles too, a lot of models are expecting warm air aloft to be pushing into this. And you can kind of tell by the southwesterly, southerly flow of this moisture as this polar jet collapses. You guys know how ice forms, right? So let's do it like this. Here's our freezing. Here's the surface. All right, so the air above this line is freezing. Okay? Or sorry. Let me redo this. Freezing at the surface. Warmer above freezing, right above the surface. Your moisture is falling. Your raindrops are falling. And right before it hits the surface, and as it hits the surface, it freezes. It doesn't have enough time to turn into snow. It's not cold enough for long enough. It just hits the ground and it turns into ice. So when you see a big ice storm forming like this on the models, first thing you should think in your head is, okay, we could have some warm air aloft. And warm air aloft punches into the system and tries to choke out a lot of snow. But this is going to be a battle because we're talking about major Arctic invasion here, combined with a strong, warm southerly flow, which is why we have such a ridiculous, almost unrealistic snowstorm showing up right here. It's like the clash of clashes with winter storms here. One of these is going to win, and one of these is going to overtake the other more than, you know, these models expect it to. Is it going to be the Arctic air? Is it going to be the warm air from the south? I'd have to lean towards the Arctic air, only because, and we went over the ensemble earlier, our tropospheric polar vortex is just disappearing. It's getting completely destroyed by those higher heights, by those warm anomalies that are pushing up into our Arctic. And I feel like that'll be enough to overcome some of this warm air aloft. That still doesn't mean I don't think we're going to get an ice storm, and I don't think that we could struggle in the southern portion of this to see snow. 100% we could, because we're still going to have warm air trying to punch into this system. But you've got to have at least a little... I have a little confidence that we will see this decently south, and I talked about it in my video this morning, because I don't even know. I mean this, we have a hazardous cold watch down to Houston and San Antonio, Texas, from the Climate Prediction Center. That means something. That's significant. This Arctic air is going to be very, very strong. We have some very high pressures moving, pushing this Arctic air down towards the Gulf. So I think it'll overcome that warmth a little bit off the Gulf. That doesn't mean that this system can't go south and move up north. Here's the thing too. If you do get this a little bit far, if you do get this Arctic air pushing in, this trough amplifying a little bit further back here into the southern plains, you are going to potentially start to tilt this system. What happens when you tilt the system? You start to get that southwesterly flow, and it could run up the coast a little bit before making an exit. So everyone could be satisfied if that happened. What we would want, though, is, again, we'd want that push of Arctic air. We want those cold temperatures a little farther west to get this things beginning to tilt, get some snow in the south up the coast, nor'easter style. It's all on the table again. I'm not going to try to tell you what I think is going to happen 5-6 days out, but I do think the Arctic air is going to overcome a lot of this moisture off the Gulf. Won't that strong, cold high over the northeast keep the storm south? That's something else we have to watch, and you can see the high up here. This is a big high pressure up here, and this is going to try to compress the system down. Again, where's this high pressure going to be located? That far north? Is it farther south here? If it is, you could even get bigger snow through here. You can press the snow into a smaller area. So that's something else to watch, and that's good that you pointed that out. If we push up into North America here, this is the high pressure we're talking about, and this is going to try to compress this thing to the south. I'd say, guys, give it 48 hours. Wednesday morning, when I make a video, we'll have some confidence, I think, in somewhat of a local forecast on a northerly or southerly track. But this winter storm's happening, and it's likely forming in the southern plains and moving east. Hi, Connor. For it to move a little further north, what needs to happen? Yeah, one of two things needs to happen. You need this trough amplified a little bit more into Texas to help tilt, which gives you that southwesterly flow. It'll follow our jet stream up the coast. Or you could just get this system doing what it's doing. We don't need any more amplification, and we need our high pressure to the north just to kind of drift off a little bit out of its way to allow that snowfall to move through. One of two things. They both could happen. If they both were to happen, you may end up with a nor'easter style system. This is the European. This is the GFS. Ooh, the 18Z is loading. This is the GFS. Then you've got your Canadian again, a little bit further north. You see what the Canadian does? Okay, I'm going to stop explaining what could happen. This is what I've been explaining. Watch what the Canadian does. The Canadian's doing exactly what I was just telling you guys. Watch what happens to the back of this system. This is when I said that everyone could be satisfied here, and this could be a nor'easter style system. Watch what the Canadian does with the back of this system. Notice the 540 line getting kind of smushed down towards almost San Antonio. And now you get a southwesterly flow. Our storm wants to kind of begin to. Now this could leave Charlotte. This could leave the Carolinas a little bit out of the fun here, maybe even Georgia. But this begins to tilt back. And now this is like a system that potentially is running up the coast too, putting tons of snow into coastal New England and the mid-Atlantic. This would be a little bit worse for the southeast, though. This would be a little bit worse for the southeast. We don't have model agreement yet. We have rough model agreement that the storm's happening, obviously, but we're not going to have it on a path yet. Dallas, I appreciate you. Sassy, I appreciate you. Mikey, Beelin, Robin. Sorry if I missed anything, guys. Snow ratios will be high with this storm through the north. I agree. Euro AI, you want to see what the Euro AI... The Euro AI has been keeping this thing north. I haven't looked at the latest, though. The Euro AI has been keeping the storm to the north. Let's take a look at the Euro AI. Here's the latest from the Euro AI. We're talking 5 to 6 days. This is what the Euro AI sees. So, big storm. Big storm from DC through Boston. This would be the biggest storm you've seen in a long time, probably. Nice snow for my boy Matt in Kentucky. Great for, Louisville, Cincinnati, maybe Columbus. Look at this. Tulsa, Oklahoma City. Again, we go from model to model. They all see this a little bit differently right now. You see the GFS keeps the snow south. The Euro absolutely destroys everyone with snow, puts it in between the GFS and the Euro AI. So all sorts of different things are definitely possible here. Look at the UK model. UK model tries to give us almost a nor'easter style system too. The UK model wants to put snow into Dallas as well. I think this would be snow through Dallas. Lots of different outcomes here, guys. Exciting to watch. The Pacific Northwest is getting no snow in the lowlands. I know. Maybe a little bit of moisture streaming in as we get into early next week, but yeah, and through next week you start to see. But it's going to be warm still, so I don't know that you're going to get any snow outside the mountains. News for Oklahoma City is saying worst case scenario, 2 feet is probably going. Worst case scenario with 2 feet is probably gonna. There's definitely a world where 2 feet of snow drops in Oklahoma City from the storm. I don't think we're gonna be in that world. There is a world where that's like I'm not gonna bet on that happening, but it's crazy to even think that it's a possibility if things work out here, especially because once this system begins to form, right? If this is slightly more amplified, you're kind of getting it's kind of stalling out here for a second. I mean, if this were to play out like the Euro, it would be snowing. It would be snowing in Oklahoma City for like 36 hours straight. So, yeah, something wild could happen. What about Southern Alabama snow chances? I give you guys. Listen, we see, we just went over 75 different members. There's a handful of them that put snow in the Gulf region down here with this storm. So I wouldn't say that like that's completely unrealistic, but yeah, I wouldn't give you great odds. But we have some members that see that as a possibility. Every now and then they're right. What's your honest take 20 miles south of Nashville here? Man, that's not a bad place to be. I'd say you're at least over 50% chance of seeing decent snow right now. Speaking of chances, you guys want to take a look at probabilities? Everyone's always asking probabilities. Here you go. Chances you see at least an inch or more of snow through this upcoming weekend. This is the Euro. We'll go through these. Blue down here is at least a 10% chance of seeing an inch or more of snow. Now, once you get into this region here, we're talking 70 to 100% chance of seeing an inch or more of snow, according to the Euro ensembles. Getting up close to 60 to 100% chance of seeing an inch or more snow. 3 or more inches of snow, 3 or more inches of accumulation, 60 to 100% chance. Look at that. We're talking about Charlotte, almost all of Tennessee, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Virginia, portions of the Mid-Atlantic. Look at this region here. 50 to 70% chance of seeing over 6 inches of snow. According to the Euro, I didn't make this map. Just showing you guys some fun stuff to look at here. Inch or more snow on the GFS. There you go. You guys can you see the percentages down here? Once you get into the yellows, it's over 50% chance. Below, under. So, yeah, pretty wild stuff. I mean, you see what the GFS does for DC, Baltimore, Philly, and Southern Jersey. It gives you guys a 30 to 50% chance of seeing a foot or more of snow. Pretty wild. Canadian ensemble, what are we looking at? Over an inch of snow. Canadian says 100% chance. For everyone up here, we'll say 60 to 100% chance through that region here. So, pretty interesting to look at there. Lots of tools on Weatherbell. Hey, Weatherbell, can I get sponsored, please? I use the crap out of your website, and I pay $70 a month for it. Someone clip that and send it to Weatherbell. Just kidding. Half kidding. Palm Breeze, Bam, I appreciate you. If I was the Euro, I would push that 50 to 70 a bit more south, just a tiny nudge. Something tells me you live a bit more south. Well, I think the Euro could. I think the Euro could. You deserve it. I appreciate you, Pam. Eastern Kentucky. Another great place to be. Because, again, there's a disagreement in this track and this track. I think both tracks still put a little to a lot of snow into Eastern Kentucky. Pretty good spot to be there if you want to be safe as this storm adjusts north and south. 380 people in here. How's YouTube doing right now? 102 people watching on YouTube? Holy crap. That's really good for me. Thank you guys. Thanks for joining in here. By the way, for anyone it's their first time in here, I try to post 7 days a week. I've got 2 kids, 2 jobs. So sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's 5 or 6 days a week. I try to live stream 7 days a week as well. My goal is to get up every day and post content and live stream. So But we do this. We talk about everything. So also got a weather Discord. Link to my Discord's in the description of all my YouTube videos. Awesome weather Discord. Tons of updates. Tons of weather enthusiasts. We're getting close to like 300, 400 people in there. It's awesome. Just to chat about weather and everything we talk about here in my streams. All the updates. It is all in my Discord. Every day update it. Hamilton. Oh my gosh. Thanks for the air dance. Norfolk, Virginia Beach, another great spot to be. I'm telling you right now, because regardless, and I'm still answering everyone's questions. You see this area, I would want to be safe. I'm going to go to the European Ensemble. To be safe as this storm shifts north and south. To be safe as this storm shifts north and south as the new model runs come out, you'd probably want to be a little bit north of this line. Like if you're in here specifically, if you're in that little circled area right there, guys. Anyone in that circled area in the stream? This does include Philly, DC, Baltimore, all of Virginia. I'm close to putting Charlotte in there, but not yet. Charlotte could be missed, I still think. Nashville, central to southern Kentucky, Arkansas, southern Missouri, most of Oklahoma. I think this area, it's going to be hard not to get snow from this system. Because if this system shifts a little bit north, which it could, you're still in snow. If this shifts a little bit south, which it could, you might be in less snow, but I think you're still in the snow. You're still in accumulation. And because you're up farther north, you're going to have nicer ratios, nicer accumulation, soft, fluffy snow. So this strip in particular is going to be really nice. Could get snow down here. Could get snow, obviously, up here. There's even a possibility farther south. But, you know, we see a couple members that see this. I'm not going to entertain this yet, but it is a possibility. But that area in particular is looking pretty safe right now. Got to be the first triple digit on YouTube Live. It might be. It might be. You guys are awesome. Mason Wrath, what is going on? Could Nashville see a foot? Yes. Yes. I wouldn't even say that's like a. I wouldn't even say that's like, oh yeah, there's no chance, like, or that's on the high end. Realistically, like if you were to take the Euro and the GFS at their word right now, you could see a foot into Nashville, and we're not talking about 10 days out. We're talking about 5 days out, so 5 to 6 days out. So it could, you could. My weather app says 20 inches of snow, southern Maryland. Yeah, my brother lives in Charlotte. I was looking at what the weather app said for Charlotte, and it said 16 inches in the Charlotte. Is it possible? Yes, I don't think Charlotte's going to get 16 inches, but just to see what the weather apps are doing with this is crazy. Yep. It's insane. Let me show you guys something. So, let's go to winter hazards. Well, here. Again, because I know people hop in and out of here. The snow is fun to talk about. I still think the biggest story is going to end up potentially being the ice and the cold. Well, it depends, because there are some of these runs that just slam everyone with a foot of snow across portions of the Southern Plains, portions of the Southeast, Ohio Valley, and Mid-Atlantic. That would be a story. I just don't think people understand how ridiculous these temperatures are going to be. I mean, kids are going to get off school up here for a few, well, it depends, because it's going to get the coldest over the weekend. I think kids up here could have Friday and Monday off for the cold. I mean, our wind chills could get down into the negative 40s and 50s in Minnesota, across Wisconsin. And again, just so everyone's aware, it gets cold every winter, but it doesn't always get this cold. This hazardous cold, guys, this hazardous cold from the Climate Prediction Center down to San Antonio and Houston, almost New Orleans, is just wild to me. Almost down to Atlanta, through Charlotte, North Carolina. This isn't extreme cold. This isn't a freeze watch or anything. This is hazardous cold. Hazardous cold. Again, another reason why it's not crazy to, wouldn't be crazy to see our snow system, our winter storm shift a little bit farther south. The cold air is going to try to get down there to bring the snow farther south, to turn that rainfall into snow a little bit farther south. What's going to happen in Cincinnati? Cincinnati's not a bad place to be as well. I think there's a world where Cincinnati gets missed a little bit to the south, but the AI models have done decent this year. In the European AI and GraphCast specifically, two good AI models. They've been hit or miss, but overall average, they've done okay. They put a good amount of snow into Cincinnati. So I live in Minneapolis. What do you think will happen? Well, yeah. Let me go here really quickly. So let me show you these wind chills really quickly. Let's move into the central U.S. Okay. And yeah, so this is getting into, so this is Friday. I don't think kids go to school up here on Friday. I do not think they send kids to school in negative 40 to negative 50 degree wind chill. They just don't. The big reason why they don't, I didn't grow up here, but my wife did, and she said, and it makes sense. Like, I grew up in Florida, and if the sustained winds were over 45 miles per hour or over 35 miles per hour, something like that, we didn't go to school. So even tropical storms, because it's for the buses. The buses can tip over. It's the same kind of thing. It's the buses up here. They do not want, some kids have to take the buses to school, and they do not want kids standing out in this air. Hypothermia, literally, like, you can be unalived. So I wouldn't be surprised if schools are canceled up here, maybe even farther south. I mean, you look at some of these wind chills, I wouldn't be surprised if you get schools canceled up in this region on Friday, because again, you can't have kids standing out waiting for a bus. Then you push out into Monday. We'll have to see. I think you could, that could extend into Monday, but definitely Friday. I think you're going to start to see a lot of schools canceled. And we'll see what happens down here. You could even maybe get schools canceled just due to the cold out here in this region as we get into next Monday. These states, kids don't have clothes in Oklahoma to stand outside for a bus in negative 15 degree wind chills. Anyone here in Oklahoma, right? I don't know if I'd want, if I was living in Oklahoma, if I'd want my kids sitting at the bus stop when it's negative 15 degrees. I don't know. Negative 15 degrees in Nashville with wind chill, right? That's not very normal. You guys can get that cold, but it's not very normal. So we'll have to see what they do there. They will close the schools. Yeah. Yeah. But hey, if this storm does what it could, I think that cold air will just be part of the factor on Monday, because if you do get a lot of snow into Oklahoma, you could have snow and cold into Oklahoma, getting it early next week. 17 degrees is too cold for us here in Georgia. Yeah, and that's why you do get different types of warnings. Like when I was in Florida, when I was in Tallahassee and we'd get into the 20s, it would be like hazardous cold. Where here, if it's in the 20s in Minneapolis, it's like not that bad. But because people up here we have tons of heavy coats and stuff. Like people in Florida aren't prepared for that type of stuff. And then the roads start to freeze over, cars start to freeze over, and you don't have salt and all that type of stuff. There was it snowed when I was in Florida State 2013, just a little bit, like a dusting to a half inch, and cars were sliding down the hills, getting into accidents, and they had to tell everyone to get off the roads. Half inch here, Minneapolis, no one cares. How many inches of snow for DC? Man. On the high end, 2 feet. On the low end, none. But I think you're gonna get snow here. I think I don't want to forecast snow 5 to 6 days out. It's almost impossible to, because we don't know the exact storm track. We know this winter storm's coming, but I'd say there's a realistic situation if you get lucky and the storm track is correct, where you get like 2 feet of snow into DC. If the European run's correct, if the European AI is somewhat correct, if the GraphCast is somewhat correct, that's in the realm of possibility on the high end. So don't go clipping that and say Connor's Climate Quarter said you're getting 2 feet of snow in DC. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Richmond, yeah, anywhere in Virginia is a great spot to be right now, because even the model runs that shift the storm north still put Richmond in snow. The model runs that take the storm south still put Richmond in snow. So as of right now, that's a good place to be with what the runs are beginning to look like. Jules, Eastern, Mason, I appreciate you guys. 108 over on YouTube. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Yeah, almost 400 on TikTok. Philadelphia. So this is when it starts to get like, I think Philly is a pretty good place to be right now as well. And someone brought this up earlier, and it's a really good point. We have this very strong high pressure to the north that's going to try to condense this snow down. Where's that high pressure as this system moves through? Does it really? And if it does try to condense it to the south, holy smokes, you could have a field day in Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, maybe even North Carolina, West Virginia out here, because then this snow is going to begin to build up even further in this region here. But there's a world where definitely this high pressure keeps the snow just too far south of Philly. Right now, it's not a bad place to be. The majority of models put decent snow through Philly and New York City still, Long Island. So we'll watch it. Not going to pretend like I know exactly the storm track of this system 5 to 6 days out, like I said. We're getting the new GFS loading in here. Okay. So we're going to look at that. This is the new GraphCast. This is the new GraphCast. This would be snow still through here. Let's see how this thing loads out. This would probably see the GraphCast is trying to the GraphCast, our next gen AI model, just shifted the storm south. At least it looks like it. Let's go to the 12Z. There's the 12Z. There's the 18Z. Wait, no, I don't think that's on the same. Let's look here. Hold up here. Okay, it's not reading it. No, it's not reading it all the way through. It's not reading. Okay, Monday 06Z. Okay, this is gonna be. Let's just keep watching this. Let's keep watching the GraphCast load in. It needs some time. I appreciate the sub, Alf. I appreciate the sub over on YouTube. This is this weekend. We could get this storm could really start to crank up as we get into Friday evening, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and then this is Sunday. Saturday night into Sunday, morning and afternoon. Hey Connor, could model shift north for the snow and make it Central Ohio? That'd be a pretty far shift north. There are some models that you can see. Even the current Euro put some snow up there. Again, one of the big issues with snow that far north is, one, your temperatures are probably going to be your actual temperatures are probably going to be like 0 degrees. It's hard to get snow when it's that cold. And this high pressure that's going to try to be, kind of, like I said, compressing the system to the south. Your storm system doesn't want to move through a high pressure. So kind of depends. I think the cold air up to the north is what's going to try to keep the system south of that line. Thanks, Age. Can the ice turn into snow? Yeah, and a lot of times when you see ice, by the way, guys, it's a good question. A lot of times when you see ice like this, by the way, on a model run, you think predicting snow is hard because rainfall is the easiest. It's above freezing from the surface to the ceiling, all layers of the troposphere. Snow gets harder because for snow, you need it below freezing, but it doesn't need to be below freezing through the entire, from the surface to the ceiling. It can technically have a mix, but it needs to be freezing enough for long enough and at the surface for it to stay as snow. You typically want it below freezing from the floor to ceiling. You want to know what you need for ice, and I explained it earlier. Ice it's trying to say, hey, we're above freezing up here, but right before it hits the surface, it's below freezing. These models are trying to see everything that's happening from the bottom to the middle to the upper layers of the troposphere, and that's ridiculously hard to predict. More than even, it's hard to predict 12 hours out, let alone 120 hours out. So when you see this like big pink ice storm here, there's a realistic possibility that some of this is just snow, and that warm air aloft hasn't punched in. But there's a realistic possibility some of it is all ice. It's really, ice is so hard for models to predict. It's I wouldn't even read into this yet. The ice storm is definitely possible. but I wouldn't read too much into the ice quite yet. It's very, very hard to predict. My weather app says 8 to 12 inches. Where are you? Yeah, weather apps are going crazy right now with trying to figure this thing out. NTX Chantel, I appreciate you. Atlanta, it's possible. Hey, NTX, I'm getting concerned about the weekend. Yeah, it's looking pretty wild. Texas is cooked. Oklahoma might be more cooked than Texas. We'll have to see how this thing develops. Central Maryland, it's a possibility 8 to 12 inches. It is. We'll have to see how this thing continues to develop. So a little bit far out. What's your thoughts on North Carolina, Virginia line? South Central Virginia. Yeah. I've been talking about Virginia as a whole. If this thing shifts north, Virginia still gets snow. If this thing shifts a little south, Virginia still gets snow. So it's a pretty good place to be if you want snow. You're not guaranteed it because we're still outside, just sitting outside of forecasting range. We'll get into forecasting range tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. Right now, Charlotte does see snow on most of these runs, but it's on the border. It's in that winter battleground zone. So we'd like to see a little. We don't need a crazy shift south if we want more snow in Charlotte. We'd like to see this amplify a little bit, maybe push 10 to 20 miles south for a little bit more confidence in heavy Charlotte snow. Not asking for a lot. The weather channel says 5 to 8 in Ohio. Yep, still early though, guys. No one knows how much snow is gonna fall on Saturday and into Sunday right now. Okay. We know the storm's coming though. Connor, if you had to choose, do you think it's gonna shift north or south? Everyone keeps putting me on the spot. Let me see something here real quick. Give me a second. Let me look at something here real quick. Let me look at our national blend again. No, you know what I want to look at? I don't care about Euro precipitation. I do care about the cold, though. Let's just look at our Euro temperatures. Central. I want to try to give you guys a serious answer. I can always change my answer. But right now, let's take a look at this. Here's our system forming here. Notice something. Our snowstorm right now would be in here. Our rain and our rain and our snow. Are we not at the surface below freezing everywhere here? I'm talking about into southern Arkansas, into Dallas, into Huntsville, and maybe into Birmingham, Alabama, into Atlanta, into Charlotte out here to the east. Are we not below freezing as this moves out? Again, just the surface doesn't matter. Here's Sunday. We are more than cold enough in Charlotte for good snow. The whole reason the snow line is north on some of these models is because of that injection of warmer air into the mid layers of the atmosphere here. And let me take a look at something here. Let's go to upper air temperature. I'm trying to figure this out for you guys. Here's one thing I like, okay? I got to give you an answer because I want to keep answering everyone's questions. I like that your surface temperatures look good in the south. And that makes me like your chances that for this snow, for these models as we move forward, to continue to show good snow in the south. Because again, where it's showing ice here, where it's showing ice into Charlotte here, Charlotte could be 20 degrees at the surface. Now they're saying aloft, it's going to be just aloft. It's going to be way warmer. I'm not going to say I think this is going to take the north or southern track yet. I'm going to say that this taking a farther southern track is I think it's still a coin flip. I really do believe with the surface temperatures down here being so cold. Again, all we need to do is prevent a little bit of this warm air coming in, a little bit of this warm air aloft, and we're fine down here. So Give me 24 hours. I need to look at some stuff off stream. Surface temperatures are a lot of times the issue, and the surface temperatures aren't the issue here. How cold can Long Island get? Yeah, Long Island could get really, really cold. Long Island could get really, really cold. Here, let's just go take a look at the Northeast. Here's our temperature anomalies. What do you guys think? 26 degrees below average in Long Island? On Long Island? How cold do you think that is? Ariana, I appreciate the sub. 28 degrees below average. 35 degrees below average there. We're almost 50. We are getting close to 50 degrees below average in Virginia. Holy smokes. Let's take a look at our apparent temperatures. Here's our wind chills. Here's our wind chills as we get into Monday morning. You think they'll cancel school for you guys out here too? Maybe negative 15 degrees in Philly. Negative 5 to negative 10 in New York City. Negative 10 maybe out there on Long Island. Negative 10 in Boston. Negative 14. Yeah, negative 10 and negative 15 DC to Baltimore. Cold. Actual temperatures. A lot of you are still in the negatives. Philly, New York City, you could still be in the negatives. Long Island, maybe 3 degrees. Yeah, that's cold. That's why you're in a hazardous cold watch. For anyone who just joined, I've been showing this earlier. But if you're in this blue, this is the Climate Prediction Center saying you could see hazardous cold this weekend. They don't typically create this big of a region, but we have it this time. I hope they cancel work. What model do you think? If I'm being honest, I think the European's being too aggressive here. Now, luckily, if you guys want this type of event, the European, on average, is our best model and gets the closest. I'd say it's over 50% the closest. Probably closer to 60, 70% the closest. I could see the Euro being completely correct about the path and everything like this. I think it may be putting a little too much snow down. Okay? I think it may be putting a little too much snow down. I could see the European path with like the GFS type of snow. You see how the GFS here? Oh, we're getting into the 18Z. Oh, look at the 18Z. It's not fully loaded yet. Look at the 18Z though. Look at the snow beginning to shift south here. Kind of was like that actually last run. Let me look at the 12Z of the GFS. No, it's shifted a little bit south in the 18Z. But like I think the GFS could be closer here. Still a lot of snow down here. But I feel like the Euro's just being a little too crazy with the snowfall. I would love if this happened for a lot of you. But again, the European AI Graphcast and Canadian are pretty aggressive with snow as well. I just looked up the record low for Columbus, Ohio, negative 23 degrees in 1912. Is that the wind chill or just the actual temperature? Yeah, is that the wind chill or actual temperature? I mean, you guys could get down to negative 8 to negative 10 degrees, I think, possibly in Columbus. That's without wind chill. Your wind chills in Columbus, Ohio. Your wind chills in Columbus, Ohio. I mean, if this stuff moves incorrectly, negative 15 maybe, negative 18 possibly Columbus, Ohio. Could approach a record. What's the snow looking like for Charlotte? We've been talking a lot about that. It's tough. It's tough to tell. I think I'm still putting Charlotte in the winter battleground zone here, meaning a battle of snow, ice, and sleet. There are many members that show over a foot of snow into Charlotte, though. So I'm not going to pretend like that's not a possibility. Is it true 10 to 12 for New York City? It's no one knows if you guys are going to get 10 to 12 inches of snow. I mean, we're talking on Saturday and Sunday, 5 to 6 days out. So yes, there are multiple runs that do show that much snow into New York City this weekend. It's on the table. Is DMV getting a snow event? I think the DMV has a better chance of. I'd say the DMV has a better chance of getting a foot of snow than New York City. It's still possible in New York City though. Morrisville to be exact, better chance in Morrisville if you're better chance if you're 20 miles north of Charlotte. Oh, my pre-workout just went into my eye. My eye's gonna start twitching. Oh, yeah. Everyone remember, one bad model run doesn't mean anything. Something may go, yep, something might be gone for you, one run. Yeah, I don't think this winter storm's disappearing. We have too much confidence in it, but yeah, that's why we're not paying attention to the exact track. I do like looking at the national blend, though, so we can get an average of what everything's seeing. Thoughts on if Cleveland, Ohio can get a lot of snow this weekend? Yeah, it could. You'd want to be probably in southern Ohio, not central to northern Ohio with this, although I know the Euro AI pushes it pretty far north, but Cleveland's Cleveland's northern Ohio. For some reason, I was thinking Cincinnati in my head. So Cleveland, I think, would be rough. Cleveland, I think it's tough to get a lot of snow from this. Cincinnati is probably your best bet. Maybe Columbus in Ohio. Could the storm affect Chicago? You're going to be too cold. You're going to get some clipper systems moving through here and there over the next couple weeks. But no, Chicago just needs to worry about your negative 30 to negative 40 degree wind chill. Not this snowstorm. You're probably not going to see it. Yeah, in between the Euro and the GFS, like the NWS, yeah. Speaking of that, do I have probabilistic snow portal pulled up? I do, okay. Let's see what the NWS has here. It's not going to be putting us all the way out yet. 65 hours out. Yeah, we need to get closer. Way closer. The probabilistic precipitation portal is not working. Philly, pretty decent spot to be for this storm. Again, if it shifts north, you're still in it. If it shifts south, you probably still get some accumulation. Do you think high pressure will suppress this so DC won't get anything? I don't think the high pressure suppresses it south of DC. I think DC is almost inevitably still going to see something. It's possible. I think the GFS actually does have the high, pushing it pretty far to the south. So right now the Euro likes that snow getting it further to the north, though. So I think you're safer in DC right now. Thanks for all your hard work, sir. No problem. No problem. Yeah, Chicago probably won't see snow from this one. DC might get snow, but it's a 30 to 50 if models are correct. I like DC. I like DC more than Baltimore, Philly, or New York City just because I don't know if we get this tilt up the coast. I am worried about that high to the north. Look at the new GFS. Oh, yeah, it's continuing to load in. Do we have enough here? Oh, wow, this would be a great day. This is moving far. This is putting snow farther south. This will probably be some accumulation into Dallas as well because this is a wintry mix and sleet. Yeah, look at this. Look at that snow in the GFS. Still loading. Still loading, so we're not going to see a ton of snow if I were to do this, but look at that. We got to let this load a little bit more, but this is the latest GFS. Obviously, see where the snow is trying to fall with this system. This would be a marvelous day for Charlotte. Maybe a good day for Atlanta. Atlanta's like, I think, like here. Atlanta's like here. You'd want this a little bit more amplified, but it's possible. Again, you have the surface temperatures in here for snow. Just south of the snow line, you have the surface temperatures in here for snow. It's the model's thinking that your mid layers could mess up your snow chances, but at least you have the surface temperatures for snow. You'll continue to see an opportunity. Let's see this here. Yeah, it's the latest GFS. I'm muted. Am I muted, guys? That shows nothing for Missouri. Yeah, but this is also the 18Z. This is an off-hour model run, so don't worry too much about the 18 and 6Z. It's just interesting to see how the trend, how they trend back and forth. I'm not muted, okay? All right, someone's trolling me, guys. Laser Dust Live. Is it staying south of Pittsburgh? Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to get snow into Pittsburgh on this one. You get a little bit here on the Euro. You get a little bit on the Canadian. The Canadian, actually, the way the Canadian tilts here, Canadian could end up being a good day for Pittsburgh. Canadian would be a huge day for the Mid-Atlantic. So we'll see. There's still members out there. There's still runs that put good snow into Pittsburgh. I do think I do think a lot of the snow is going to try to stay a little bit farther south. South of central Ohio, south of central PA. GFS is really dashing my Nashville snow dreams. Yeah, and I just think the Euro. I think the Euro guys. This is our good snow model, right? And good cold model. I can't help but feel like this is being a little bit over aggressive though, because I've seen this before. Do I think Raleigh, North Carolina will get a good amount of snow? It's a good spot to be. I think it's better to be in Raleigh, North Carolina than Charlotte right now, although the GFS just trended snow up in Charlotte, obviously. The GFS has been better at predicting this season than other seasons. Yes, it's done actually surprisingly good a few times. More than a few times. But the Euro still overall wins. Love how the colors look like watercolors. What are your thoughts on Durham, North Carolina? Yeah, like I said, still better to be there than to be in upstate South Carolina or southern North Carolina or Charlotte. Central to northern North Carolina still look pretty decent, including the research triangle here with the latest runs that we have. Your surface temperatures aren't going to be an issue out there in Durham. And I don't think as much heat pushes into the Carolinas, into the mid layers there as could down there in the southern plains and then through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. Thoughts on Kansas City for snow? Let's look at our national blend. What's our national blend thing for snow through Kansas City? Let's again just blend all the models together and see what the outcome could be. Two to 4 inches, 2 to 5 inches on the national blend. Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I like the track of the Euro more. I like maybe the snow totals of the GFS more. I think the Euro's putting too much snow down, but has a better track. I think the GFS, it maybe understanding the precipitation, which it does understand the precipitation totals as we get down towards the Gulf Atlantic and subtropical region a little bit better than the Euro. I think it could be understanding that better, but doesn't understand the track. It says 8 to 12 inches on the Weather Channel for Raleigh, North Carolina. Well, it's a possibility. I would say the models do say 8 to 12 inches into Raleigh right now. So, again, when you look at the national blend here, the national blend's always going to be conservative because it's going to average in model runs that don't show any snow. So I always put up these totals a little bit when I look at this. Charlie got cheated the last few years, so praying we get a big one. Yeah, you guys haven't been... Yeah, I know. Last year, if you looked at the snow map for last year, there was a dusting to accumulation snow in everywhere in North Carolina except for in this circle right there. Now, some people just got a dusting, but that little circle like Charlotte basically is the only place that got nothing. You love this track. Wait, could the sleet cool the atmosphere and change it to snow? After a while, yeah. I'm worried about ice, freezing rain in South Arkansas. I would say that's a legitimate concern down there. All right, let's take a look at the latest GFS. There it is. Almost it starts to get that tilt just like the Canadian, but it's a little bit farther off the coast. If you could see, if we look at the Canadian here, that happens a little bit closer to the coast here. Canadian really keeps this thing north, though. I don't know about that far north. Possible it trends south. Yeah, I mean, it just trended a little bit south on the GFS. Tiny bit. So we've seen it go back and forth. Is there a chance 6+ inches of snow into Kansas? Yeah. Depends on where you are. I think almost anywhere in Kansas has that potential here. Especially, I'd say, central to southeastern Kansas. Maybe even Kansas City. Might be a little far north, but it's possible still. I think the GFS has it more down than the Euro for ice. Is the GFS not being as aggressive with ice? Yeah, I think the Euro's being a little too aggressive with ice as well. The Euro's just being aggressive all around. We've seen storms like this, though, like what the Euro's showing. It is a possibility for it to be this aggressive. So can't totally discount it. You know? This is big, though. This is big, though. And we're, like, just talking about the snow right now. We're not really even talking about the cold air. Like, I don't even think people are ready for what's about to happen with this Like I said, I said it before. I'll say it again. There's cold blast, Arctic blast, and there's whatever the heck this is. As we get into next weekend, where you could get negative temperatures almost down in Dallas, northern tiers of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and I mean we could be pushing negative 15 out towards New York City and Philly. Crazy, crazy cold temperatures coming down here, getting it maybe into the single digits, the Panhandle of Florida, or low teens. I can see the cold air trying to push under the snow system just based on the way the air is coming down. Well, that's the thing, though. If the cold air is pushing under the system, it's not the surface air isn't the problem. We're going to have all this area where you see ice, we have freezing air at the surface. It's the warm air that's overtaking the freezing air aloft. And here's the thing, though. This isn't really a tilting. This isn't really a tilting trough. This is almost like a zonal flow type of strong storm system. You just have a lot of moisture available here. And you don't always getting a lot of warm air aloft typically happens more when you have a negatively tilting system and you're really sucking in, pulling in that warm air. I hate that word. And pulling in that warm air from the Gulf and the Atlantic. So I do think that it's one of the reasons I think that the Euro's overdoing the ice as well, because they're really, really expecting a hard tug, southerly, southeasterly tug to get that warm air aloft into here. So we'll see. Ice is ridiculous. So no one should even try to predict it this far out. 5 to 6 days. You want to be like literally 24 to 48 hours max on ice. G.S. Andon. I don't know how to say that. I appreciate you. David Lake, what's going on? KG. I know I missed some gifts. Senchel JCP. I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate any follows. Appreciate the subs being in here. Hanging out, guys. Helping the algorithm. I appreciate you guys. Hey, friend. Lake, what's going on? Is there any... Always good seeing you here. Is there a chance Nashville and surrounding counties could see a foot of snow? Is there a chance you could see a foot of snow? Yes. Yes. With this system, there's a chance you could see a foot of snow. There's a few members. There's like 3 members out of 75 that put snow into Mobile, Alabama. So you're saying there's a chance? Yes, but not very likely for Mobile, Alabama. My weather app changed forecasts so often today in PA. Yeah, it's probably all over the place. Central New Jersey blizzard for this storm. I don't think it'd be a blizzard. I don't. It could be pretty gusty. I don't know that we're going to have major winds through this region, though. Heavy snowstorm? Yes. Blizzard? I don't know. You don't even want a blizzard if you want good snow accumulations. You get a blizzard and it's blowing snow, and the snow doesn't even accumulate that good. Chicago's not going to get much with this storm. The big conversation for Chicago right now is not the snow. It's what's going to be happening with your temperatures here as we get into the weekend. You can see your wind chills could get, I don't know, a cool negative 35 degrees. So that's the big story here. Talking about what's the actual temp without wind chill, we could be pushing easily negative 15 into Chicago. Yeah. Again, the hazardous cold here from the Climate Prediction Center. And then you take a look. At our 6 to 10 day and 8 to 14 day temperature outlooks. Obnoxious. Eastern Virginia is a pretty good spot to be for this snow system. I like the way this is developing for Eastern Virginia. Usually as you get out towards the coast, it's tougher to get snow. It wouldn't be in this case. Wouldn't be with this setup. Our east of Nashville, another good spot, because if you see a little bit of a shift north in this system, you're probably still getting snow in that region. New York City, big snowstorm. Maybe the issue with New York City, again, is going to be our high pressure to the north. Is going to be if this snow tries to compress down to the south. I think New York City's still a little up in the air. Channel has a great vibe. I appreciate that, Trent. North, I said vibe. Vibe. North Atlanta, snow. You guys are almost in the same boat as Charlotte. I think Charlotte has a little bit better opportunity than you, but North Atlanta still kind of a winter battleground zone here. You could end up with a bunch of freezing rain. You could end up with 6+ inches of snow. They're both on the table here. Yeah, oh, the GraphCast. Yeah, we can take a look at the GraphCast again real quick. GraphCast shifted south. There was the GraphCast at the 12Z. Watch it shift south. There it is now. So, and we like this. I mean, this is a next-gen AI model. This would try to put some back-end snow, too, into Dallas there. Try to get some snow, yeah, through Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, the Mid-Atlantic here. Might try to, yeah, even New York City, probably here, Long Island. GraphCast shifted south. Again, 12Z, 18Z. Look at that shift south. 12Z, 18Z. Pretty far shift south. That's pretty big, actually. Especially for one model run. European AI, still only have the 12Z. Do I think Pittsburgh will see good snow? The only real model I think that tries to put good snow through Pittsburgh is the Canadian. Not a bad snow model. I wouldn't give you guys great chances of heavy snow with this. Maybe a 20% chance. Just taking a look at the models, I think there's a better chance this stays a little bit farther south. I'm just wondering if it snows in Middle Tennessee, how long do you think it will stay on the ground? Say it snowed here. Sunday morning. Monday morning, freezing. Tuesday morning, freezing. Wednesday morning, freezing. Thursday morning, freezing. Friday morning, freezing. Probably 7 days. At least 6 days. We're well below freezing. Through the Ohio Valley, including Tennessee. And even when this isn't even a major warm-up here. This is a brief warm-up. Realistically, it could end up being 2 weeks of snow on the ground based on the outlook here. I mean, let's take a look at the European 10-day temperature outlook here. Let's go to Euro, surface. Am I blind? I am blind. Surface temperature. Look at your this is all the way through. If I push all the way out through into February 3rd from right now, January 19th, look at our temperature anomalies out east. That's going to keep snow on the ground. That's why this snowstorm is big for a lot of people. Because not only is it going to snow, because like Mid-Atlantic saw a snowstorm earlier this year where you got a good amount of snow on the ground and then it was gone 2 days later, 24 hours later for some of you. This snow would stick around for quite a while. For anyone who gets it. UK Met, is there a good, do we have an update there? No, we looked at this earlier. We can look at it again, though. UK Met does something similar to the Canadian. Takes us right up the coast, be a big storm for the Mid-Atlantic. Oklahoma, Arkansas, lesser for the Southeast. Yeah. Guys, I got to get off here in a second. My wife's going out with her mom to watch the national championship game, and I get to watch the kids. Listen, I have a video up on my YouTube page talking about everything that we've talked about in this live today. I'm also going to be putting out another video for tomorrow with all the updates. I think tomorrow, obviously, into Wednesday will be very important because we're just outside of forecasting range here, and over the next 24 to 48 hours, we'll be in what we call forecasting range. We'll get into that 96-hour range where our models typically have better consensus, and we can figure out a storm track, precipitation totals, snow totals a little bit better. So next couple videos will obviously be pretty important. We'll see how this track works out. Hazardous cold conditions ahead. This is we've been talking about it. Second half of January, this is going to be peak winter here. I think the next 21 days is going to be what we talk about when 2026 winter's over. I think you can get snow and cold air in late February and March, but this is a wild pattern ahead. Complete breakdown of the tropospheric polar vortex, maybe a big ice storm, major snowstorm. Continued cold air after this to keep the snow on the ground. We could get school closures up here in this region due to cold air on Monday. Friday, maybe even this Friday up here. We're getting into the negatives without wind chill. The Fishhawk, I appreciate the sub. But everyone, enjoy your day. If you watch football, enjoy football. To anyone who gifted and I missed. Ricky, I appreciate you. Grays, I appreciate you. Hannah, David, Connie, Ashton, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for anyone who subbed, anyone who followed, anyone who gifted, anyone who was in here helping my algorithm, talking with me, chatting with me. Again, if you want to join the Discord, there's a link to my Discord in all of my YouTube videos. It's awesome. Tons of weather enthusiasts in there. It's completely free. Tons of weather updates. Everything I talk about in here is in there. And I tell everyone in there when I'm going to go live, so they're not surprised. You guys are awesome. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be posting a video. We'll be going live tomorrow. I appreciate all of you. And I'll see you a little bit later. See ya.